Happy Wednesday, class. Today we got a guest reader with us. We're in our big books now. It's the one with the cheetah in the airplane. So make sure you found the correct book. We're on page 10. Remember, if you don't have it yet, pause the video, get your book, and then join us. We're working on fairy tales this week, and so we're going to have some made-up characters, right? There's going to be some kind of quest or some kind of challenge that the character has to get through, and chances at the end we'll have somebody living happily ever after. It might be a surprise ending. The title of our story is The Princess and the Pizza. It's by Mary Jane and Herm Auck. Don't forget our essential question this week. Where do our good ideas come from?
I get to start. Princess Paulina needed a job. Her father had given up his throne to become a wood carver and moved them to a humble shack in a neighboring kingdom. Since the king was still learning, his carvings didn't sell, and Paulina's garden barely kept enough on the table. Paulina missed princessing. She missed walking the peacock in the royal garden, surveying the castle from the castle tower, and doing the princess wave in the royal processions.
Wow, Miss Bauer, you're good at that wave. Pauline tried walking a stray chicken around her shack. Now, she's doing this really weird thing because she missed the peacock. Peacocks are beautiful, and chickens are not. But it only pecked her bare toes. Surveying the kingdom from the shack's leaky roof made even more holes. She tried princess waving to the townspeople, great job, from her father's cart, but nobody bothered to wave back. They just thought she was swatting at flies.
We're on page 14. One day, a page rode past the shack announcing that Queen Zelda of Blom was seeking a true princess to become the bride of her son.
Pause
Prince
now,
Rupert.
because Miss Bauer teaches such highfalutin 5th and 6th graders, she probably figures you know what a page is. But a page is a person who would bring a message, like a messenger, a message from one person to the next. And so these kings would have these pages that would go out and give a royal announcement. It's a synonym, page and messenger. We'll talk more about synonyms later.
This is my chance to get back to princessing, Paulina cried. She rummaged through the trunk of her ex-princess stuff, brushed the wood shavings from her best ball gown, and blew away the bits of sawdust that clung to her diamond tiara. Then she tucked a piece of garlic into her bodice for good luck, snipped some fragrant herbs to cover up the garlic smell, and headed for the castle. I don't know how many of you have cooked with garlic before, but I'm a little bit worried for Paulina. I have never, ever heard of anyone trying to get a man's attention or to try to become a princess by having garlic in her top. Paulina didn't expect much competition. There wasn't another princess for hundreds of miles. But when she got to Blom Castle, Paulina found she was the only one of 12 princesses she was only one of 12 princesses hoping to become the royal bride.
Hopefully in your minds, because we've been working on predicting all week, you're making predictions. Well, will she win or will she not? Will there be little tiffs and fights with the other princesses who all want the same prince so they get to be his awfully wedded wife, the princess? When she looked into her assigned room, Pauline saw her bed was piled with 16 mattresses. Oh, for Pete's sake, the old princess and the pea trick. That's so once upon a time. Naturally, Pauline didn't sleep all night because she felt the lumpy pea through all the mattresses. So this is an old trick that they used to do, put something in your mattress, and if you couldn't feel it, well, then you really weren't a princess, because princesses' mattresses would be perfect. When the 12 princesses gathered in the throne room the next morning, the 7 who looked bright-eyed, they were sent home. They were the fake princesses. Now Pauline and 4 other sleepy princesses remained. First, they were made to write essays entitled, "Why I Want to Have the Gracious and Exquisitely Beautiful Queen Zelda for My Mother-in-Law."
Prince Rupert and Queen Zelda finally appeared on the balcony. Queen Zelda did all the talking. "Congratulations, ladies. You have written some lovely essays, which I will keep in my scrapbook, and you have all passed the mattress test. But to make absolutely sure that you are of royal blood, there is a second test. Only a true princess can wear these glass slippers." "For Pete's sake, you've never heard of sneakers?" sharp look. Nobody said you had to hike in them. Just try them on. After the royal page made his way around the room with the slippers, 2 big-footed princesses were sent home. Now only Paulina and 2 others remained. One was followed around by 7 strange little men. What are you thinking about there? You know your fairy tales you might be thinking of, Mr. Bauer?
7. You know, I can't remember who the princess was, but was it Droopy and Sleepy and
And they followed around Snow.
I gotta polish up my Snow White.
And the other had such a long braid dragging behind her.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Rapunzel.
Oh, close.
Paulina kept tripping over it. For Pete's sake, have you never heard of scissors? Paulina cried.
You all have passed the second princess test. Your final task is to cook a feast that proves you are worthy to be my Drupert's wife. I guess the queen thinks that a good wife cooks good food. And if you have a good wife, she feeds you well. Just saying. This set up a wail among the princesses, especially for Pauline. For Pete's sake, you have no royal chef? Silence, said the queen. The table holds the making for 3 fine feasts. Choose well, for the winner will become my dear Drupert's bride. As Pauline started for the table, the long-haired princess tripped her and then loaded up with the food. By the time Pauline got there, the 7 strange little men had run off with everything but some flour, some yeast, a little water, 3 overripe tomatoes, and a hunk of, our key word this week, our vocabulary word, stale cheese. Hopefully in your mind you're making predictions like crazy. What can I make with yeast, water, flour, tomatoes, and a hunk of stale cheese? Hey, that's not fair, Queen Zelda. Will you help me? No, said the queen, because you have a big mouth.
Page 18. A servant escorted or took Paulina to her room and locked the door. Hey, how can I cook without a bowl or spoons or pots? There was no reply. Paulina tried to make bread, kneading the flour, water, and yeast together, but it only stuck to the tray in a flattened mess. She squished the tomatoes over the dough to brighten it up. It looked awful. She sprinkled cheese gratings over the top. It was still a mess, and Paulina was exhausted. For Pete's sake, where's your fairy godmother when you need her? I'm going to take a nap. She reached under the pile of mattresses, pulled out the offending pea, and climbed into bed. She hadn't been sleeping long when there was a knock at the door. Only 20 minutes left, called Queen Zelda. I don't smell anything cooking. I'm not cooking, said Paulina. I'm napping, and then I'm going home. You're not going anywhere, said the queen. The losers will be beheaded.
What?
Paulina sat bolt upright. Beheaded? You didn't tell us that. I forgot, said the queen.
Can't I have a second chance? How about I try to spin straw into gold?
Rumpelstiltskin.
That's what I was thinking. Or maybe I could guess a weird little man's name. I think that's Rumpelstiltskin again. No second chances, declared the queen. But that's not fair, Pauline cried. Who needs to be fair? I'm the queen. Now wait, one of the things we said about fairy tales is they're going to have illustrations, hint, 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 pictures. Check it out. Maybe you're predicting what Pauline made with the gooey dough and the squeezed tomatoes and the grated cheese on top.
Paulina leaped out of bed and ran to the window, but it was an unbelievably long drop to the ground. The meal was her only hope. She rushed the tray over to the fireplace, stirred the few remaining hot coals, then crushed her garlic. Ooh, it's coming in handy, and sprinkled it over the mess for good luck. Finally, Paulina tossed on the herbs to cover up the garlic smell.
Pauline paced back and forth. Now, you might do that if you're nervous. Pace back and forth. She's very nervous, planning her escape. Perhaps she could make a deal with the long-haired princess to climb down her braid. She didn't notice that the goopy dough had browned into a crust. The tomatoes were bubbling, the herb bits and cheese had melted, and the fresh video about lunchtime, and I tell you, I am getting hungry. The page opened the door. Time's up. Pauline took the deep breath and carried her tray into the great dining room.
The other princesses himself to an unusually generous piece. What do you call this dish? Paulina shrugged. I don't know. It can't be an official entry of the contest if it doesn't have a name, said the queen. Oh, for Pete's sake, Paulina muttered. What's that? Snapped the queen. Pete's what? Remembering the beheading threat, Paulina frantically tried to think of a name. It's Pete's,
Pete's?
uh,
Pizza? It's pizza! The queen took a big bite. Odd name, but it's tasty. The winner is Pauline's pizza. You mean I won't be beheaded? I was only kidding about the beheading thing, said the queen. Then I was only kidding about wanting to marry Prince Rupert. Who needs him? I have other plans. Will you leave your recipe? Asked the queen. No way, said Pauline. It's just become a family secret. She headed for the door. I like you the best, whined the queen, following close behind. Oh, for Pete's sake, muttered Pauline as she stomped across the drawbridge. Prince Pauline's Pizza Palace opened a few weeks later. It featured unusual carved furniture and 50 kinds of pizza. Every Thursday on the royal chef's night off, Queen Zelda and Prince Rupert came to Pauline's for a popcorn pineapple pizza. Don't try that at home. They often stayed to play cards with Pauline's father. Now, of course, all these things got to have a happy ending, so I figured the princess would marry the prince, but hold tight, this one's got a twist.
From then on, whenever Paulina drove her pizza delivery cart through town doing the princess wave, everybody waved back and ran after her, asking about the day's specials. Life was good. Paulina was grateful not to have Queen Zelda for a mother-in-law, but she still worried about one little thing. She worried about getting Queen Zelda as her stepmother.
Now, the illustration might help you there. Notice the big, huge heart. Notice Queen Zelda and her dad eating one piece of pizza, and it kind of looks like they've got their lips puckered up. Well, anyhow, let's give Ms. Bauer a big fourth grade round of applause for joining us. That's 4 claps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll both give you the princess wave to send you on your way today. I think I need to work on mine. All right, well, thank you, Mrs. Bauer.